Elvis Presley died today. He was 42. Apparently it was a heart attack. He was found at his home in Memphis, not breathing.
Elvis Presley, the singer who shaked, rattled, and rolled his way to rock history in the 1950s, died today in Memphis. He was 42.
August 16th, 1977, 2:30 in the afternoon. Graceland, Memphis. Ginger Alden pushes open the bathroom door at the end of the upstairs hallway and freezes. Lying face down on the cold tile floor is the most famous man on the planet. Pajama bottoms bunched around his ankles, arms flat at his sides. His skin, the color of a deep bruise, dark blue turning purple at the edges. The tip of his tongue clenched between his teeth, his face swollen so badly, he was almost unrecognizable. Who was the first person to truly see what death had done to the king? Not the medics, not the doctors. It was a quiet, experienced embalmer working alone that night in a small room at the Memphis Funeral Home. He looked at the body on that steel table, and he saw something the world was never meant to see. For 33 years, he kept silent. Then, in his 80s, he finally spoke. Why did he wait so long? What did he see that shocked even a man who had embalmed hundreds of bodies? And how could the things he witnessed forever change the way you picture Elvis Presley's death? Stay with me. Hit subscribe, because this story is darker than you ever imagined. Chapter 1. The Silent Witness. The night the embalmer met the king. The phone rang late on the evening of August 16th, 1977, inside the Memphis Funeral Home on Elvis Presley Boulevard, just a short distance from Graceland itself. The man who picked up the receiver was the senior embalmer, a respected professional in his mid-40s with decades of experience. His name has never been released to the public. He preferred it that way. He had handled hundreds of bodies in his career, but this call was different. Elvis is gone, the voice told him. Vernon Presley has made the arrangements. They're bringing him to you tonight. The senior embalmer arrived at the funeral home as the hearse pulled in under the cover of darkness. It was already late evening, hours after Elvis had been pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. at Baptist Memorial Hospital, when the sheet was pulled back on the steel preparation table. The reality of what lay before him was shocking. This was not the Elvis the world remembered. The body had already undergone a full autopsy. A long Y incision ran from the shoulders to the pelvis. The face was severely swollen and discolored, a deep, ugly blue-purple from hours of cardiovascular failure. The once famous features were distorted almost beyond recognition. The hair had turned substantially gray. The entire body was heavily bloated, bearing the unmistakable marks of years of prescription drug abuse and declining health. The senior embalmer worked completely alone through the long night of August 16th into the 17th. He drained the fluids, injected formaldehyde, and began the delicate process of reconstruction. Using reference photographs for guidance, he applied layer after layer of foundation makeup to hide the bruising. He dyed the graying hair and sideburns back to the jet black color fans knew so well. With forceps, lip brushes, needle injectors, and aneurysm hooks, he carefully reshaped and patted the features until the man in the casket resembled the king one last time. It was never going to be perfect, but it was the best that skill and chemistry could do. As he worked, the embalmer made a private decision. He kept every single item he had used that night: the rubber gloves, the combs that ran through Elvis's graying hair, the forceps, needle injectors, eyeliner, aneurysm hooks, and the replacement John Doe toe tag that had been placed on the body after a fan stole the original at the hospital. He also saved the case report, dry cleaning tags, the hanger from the white suit, and the coffin shipping invoice clearly marked with Elvis Presley's name. He sealed everything in a box and told no one. For 33 years, that box remained hidden. Then, in 2010, now in his 80s and retired, the embalmer and his son made a quiet decision. They contacted Leslie Hindman auctioneers in Chicago and offered the items for sale, estimated between $8,000 and $14,000. When asked why he had kept them all this time, the embalmer gave one simple, powerful answer. People deserve to know the truth. The auction never happened. The Memphis Funeral Home intervened immediately, claiming the tools belonged to them. The sale was canceled. The elderly embalmer returned the entire collection and disappeared from public view once again. He remains to this day one of the most important silent witnesses to Elvis Presley's final hours. The man who saw the body more intimately than almost anyone else after the autopsy. The man who understood better than most just how far the king had fallen before that final afternoon in Graceland. And the secrets he carried from that long night in August 1977 may never be fully known, until the sealed files finally open in 2027. Chapter 2, The Poison Kingdom, Autopsy, Toxicology, and the Lies that Followed. While the senior embalmer prepared the body through the long night, the truth about how Elvis Presley actually died was already being shaped and hidden in the hours immediately after his collapse. Officially, the death certificate listed the cause as cardiac arrhythmia, a heart attack. Dr. Jerry Francisco, the chief medical examiner, stepped in front of cameras that same evening and declared with confidence that there was no evidence of drug abuse. He sounded certain, he sounded final, but the full story was far darker, and it would unravel quickly. The autopsy itself had been thorough. It began shortly after Elvis was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. on August 16, 1977, at Baptist Memorial Hospital. The Y incision opened the body, organs were removed and examined, and samples were sent for detailed toxicology testing. What those tests revealed shocked even some of the pathologists involved. The toxicology report, completed in the weeks following the death, identified 14 different drugs in Elvis Presley's system at the time he died. Not trace amounts, significant, dangerous quantities. Among them was codeine at approximately 10 times the therapeutic level in his blood. Some reports indicated levels as high as 16 times therapeutic in the liver and 23 times in the kidneys. The list was staggering. Codeine, morphine, Valium, diazepam, Quaaludes, methaqualone, Placidol, Demerol, ethchlorovinol, phenobarbital, and several others. Many were central nervous system depressants. Taken together, they created what doctors call polypharmacy, a deadly cocktail where the combined effect is far greater than any single drug alone. This was not street heroin or cocaine, right? Every substance was a prescription medication, but the sheer volume and combination told a story of a body that had been systematically poisoned over years, not days. The physical findings during the autopsy painted an even bleaker picture. Elvis's heart was double the normal size, enlarged from years of high blood pressure and strain. There was heavy plaque buildup, with up to 50% narrowing in major coronary arteries. His colon suffered from megacolon, a severely distended large intestine, a known complication of long-term opioid use that can lead to dangerous toxin buildup. Scarring from past injuries and chronic pain was evident. Medical historians now believe repeated head traumas from falls and accidents contributed to a cycle of severe pain, addiction, and escalating prescriptions. Dr. George Nikopoulos, Dr. Nick, had been Elvis's personal physician since 1967. In the final 8 months of Elvis's life alone, Dr. Nick had prescribed more than 10,000 doses of sedatives, amphetamines, and narcotics. That number is almost beyond comprehension. The Tennessee Medical Board later charged him with over 100 counts of overprescribing. He was eventually acquitted on the grounds that Elvis was already an addict who would have obtained the drugs elsewhere, but his license was suspended multiple times and permanently revoked in 1995. Yet on the night of the death, none of this was public. Dr. Francisco's press conference statement, no evidence of drug intoxication, was made before the full toxicology results were even complete. Many believe it was a deliberate cover-up to protect the family's privacy in Elvis's legendary image. The other pathologists present later admitted there had been disagreement. The drugs were not listed as the primary cause, but their role could not be ignored. The heart may have stopped first, but the years of chemical assault had made that inevitable. For the fans lining up outside Graceland the next day, none of this was known. They saw a man in a white suit, carefully restored by the silent embalmer. They saw the king they wanted to remember. But behind the makeup, the dyed hair, and the closed casket lid lay a body that had been dying slowly for a very long time. The man who saw that truth most clearly was the senior embalmer. As he worked alone under the lights, he understood better than anyone that the official story, a simple heart attack, was only part of what had happened on that hot August afternoon. The drugs, the enlarged heart, the megacolon, the years of pain and isolation, all of it had converged in that bathroom on the second floor of Graceland. And the full documentation, the complete autopsy file with every page of medical examiner findings, the unredacted toxicology report, and every detail that Vernon Presley ordered sealed for 50 years, remains locked away until 2027. When that file finally opens, the world may finally learn just how much was hidden in those frantic hours after Elvis was found face down on the bathroom floor. But even without the sealed documents, the evidence we already have is devastating. Elvis Aaron Presley did not die because his heart suddenly failed on a random Tuesday afternoon. He died because a body pushed beyond all human limits finally gave out under the crushing weight of fame, pain, and a mountain of prescription pills that no one, not his doctor, not his entourage, not the people closest to him, could or would stop. The embalmer saw the result of that slow destruction with his own eyes. He restored the image the public needed, but he kept the tools. He kept the truth. And decades later, he tried in his own quiet way to let the rest of us see it too. Chapter 3, The Reconstruction, What the Embalmer Saw Behind Closed Doors. After the autopsy was completed at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Elvis Presley's body was transported under secrecy to the Memphis Funeral Home. It was already laid on the evening of August 16, 1977. The senior embalmer, that anonymous, experienced man in his mid-40s, was waiting. What he saw when the sheet was removed from the steel table would stay with him for the rest of his life. The body on the table was not the Elvis Presley the world had worshipped for 2 decades. It was something far more tragic. The standard Y incision from the autopsy ran from the shoulders down through the sternum and all the way to the pelvis. The organs had been examined, weighed, and returned. The cavity was sutured closed, but it was the external condition that told the real story of the king's final years. The body was grossly bloated. The skin appeared loose and mottled. The once iconic face was severely distorted, swollen to the point of being almost unrecognizable. Deep purple bruising from prolonged cardiovascular failure spread across the cheeks, neck, and chest. The hair, which fans associated with youthful jet black vitality, had turned substantially gray at the roots. The features that had launched 1,000 screams were padded and misshapen by fluid retention and the ravages of long-term drug use. This was not a superstar. This was a man broken by fame and pills. The senior embalmer worked entirely alone through the long, quiet hours of the night. No assistants, no distractions, just him, the body, and the harsh overhead lights. First, he carefully drained the remaining fluids. Then he began injecting formaldehyde to preserve the tissues and slow further decomposition. The real challenge came next, the reconstruction that would allow thousands of grieving fans to say goodbye the following day. Using a collection of reference photographs spread across a nearby table, he began the painstaking artistic work he had trained years to master. He applied layer after layer of heavy foundation makeup, carefully building color to conceal the deep bruising and discoloration. He dyed the hair and prominent sideburns back to the trademark black that Elvis was known for. With skilled hands, he used padding, forceps, and subtle adjustments to reshape the swollen jawline and cheeks. He worked the eyelids, the lips, and the overall facial structure until the man in the copper casket at least resembled the legend whose music had defined a generation. It was never going to be perfect. The swelling was too severe, the damage too advanced. But it was the best that one dedicated professional and a night's worth of chemistry could accomplish. As he worked, the embalmer saw details that no photograph from the public viewing would ever reveal. The prolonged bruising suggested Elvis had been unconscious, or worse, for several hours before he was discovered. The bloating and loose skin spoke of a body that had been systematically destroyed by years of polypharmacy. There were signs consistent with megacolon, a condition linked to long-term opioid abuse that caused dangerous toxin buildup. Some who have studied the case believe the embalmer may have noticed old needle marks from repeated injections, silent evidence of the escalating battle with pain that Elvis had been losing for years. This was not a man who had simply suffered a sudden heart attack. This was a man whose body had been slowly surrendering for a very long time. One small but haunting detail stayed with him: the replacement John Doe toe tag. A fan had stolen the original identification tag from the gurney at the hospital in the chaos following Elvis's arrival. The most famous man in the world had briefly been reduced to John Doe, a nameless body on a stretcher. When the night's work was finally complete, the senior embalmer made a decision that would define his private legacy. He kept everything, every tool he had used: the rubber gloves, the forceps, the needle injectors, the aneurysm hooks, the lip brushes, the eyeliner, and the comb that had run through Elvis's graying hair. He also retained the case report, dry cleaning tags, the hanger from the white suit, and the coffin shipping invoice bearing Elvis Presley's name. He placed it all in a box, sealed it carefully, and told no one. For 33 years, that box remained hidden in storage. Then, in 2010, now retired and in his 80s, the embalmer and his son made a bold choice. They consigned the collection to Leslie Hindman Auctioneers in Chicago. The estimated value was between $8,000 and $14,000. When asked why he had kept these ordinary instruments for so long, the elderly man offered one of the most powerful statements connected to Elvis's death. People deserve to know the truth. The auction never took place. Attorneys for the Memphis Funeral Home intervened immediately, claiming the tools were property of the institution. The sale was shut down, the items were returned, and the embalmer disappeared from public view once again. On internet forums and in Elvis fan communities, rumors and discussions about that night have circulated for decades. Some believe the embalmer was shocked, even as a veteran in his field, that the condition of the body was worse than anything he had seen in his long career. Not the body of a superstar, but the body of a man destroyed by the very things that made him famous. The endless pain, the isolation, the pills that were supposed to help but ultimately killed him. Whatever he saw in that small preparation room on the night of August 16, 1977, the senior embalmer carried it quietly for the rest of his life. He restored the image the world needed to see, the king lying peacefully in his white suit under the chandelier at Graceland. But he also preserved the raw, unfiltered truth in that sealed box of tools and tags. The public would file past the open casket the next day. Many moved to tears. They would see a carefully presented legend. Only one man truly knew how much work it had taken to bridge the distance between the myth and the broken reality on that steel table. And until the full autopsy files are opened in 2027, his silent testimony remains one of the most powerful and haunting pieces of the Elvis Presley story. Chapter 4: The Sweating Corpse, Public Mourning, and the Birth of a Legend. On August 17, 1977, just one day after Elvis Presley's death, Vernon Presley made a fateful decision. He opened the doors of Graceland to the public. The copper casket, flown in from Oklahoma City and weighing a staggering 900 pounds, was placed under the crystal chandelier in the foyer. It stood open. The world was invited to say goodbye. More than 30,000 people lined up in the sweltering 90-degree August heat. The line stretched for blocks along Elvis Presley Boulevard. People had driven through the night from every state, from Canada, and even overseas. Some collapsed from exhaustion and heat. Others waited 8, 9, or 10 hours just for a few seconds to file past the open casket. President Jimmy Carter ordered hundreds of National Guard troops to maintain order. Flower trucks backed up for hours. Inside the mansion, Elvis lay in a white suit with a light blue shirt, the famous TCB, taking care of business, ring on his finger. To most mourners, he looked peaceful, but to some, something felt wrong. The first public cracks in the official story appeared almost immediately. The National Enquirer, sensing a historic opportunity, had deployed 25 staff members to Memphis and offered massive cash rewards. After failed attempts, including a photographer disguised as a priest with a camera hidden in a hollowed-out Bible, they found their way in. Elvis's first cousin was reportedly paid around $18,000. He was given a tiny plastic camera that could be hidden in one hand. After the mansion closed for the night and the family went upstairs, the cousin slipped back into the darkened foyer. 4 flashes lit the silence. One frame was blurry, another caught the chandelier, but the third was perfect. A clear close-up of Elvis lying in his coffin, face and upper body visible, the white suit pristine. That single photograph became the best-selling tabloid cover in American history. Newsstands sold out within hours. Millions saw it, and when they looked closely, many were disturbed by what they saw. The body appeared to be sweating. There were visible beads of moisture on Elvis's face. The skin had a strange, waxy, almost artificial quality. Not like living or even recently deceased flesh, but something constructed. The head looked swollen beyond normal proportions. The hairstyle seemed off, not just a bad cut, but wig-like, placed slightly crooked. Whispers that had started in the long line outside Graceland grew louder. This does not look like him. Within weeks, those whispers exploded into one of the most enduring conspiracy theories in American culture, the idea that Elvis Presley had not actually died. The theory claimed the body in the casket was a wax dummy or a paid impersonator. Supporters pointed to the sweating face as proof. Dead bodies don't sweat, they argued. On Elvis forums and in books like those from the Presley Commission, fans explained that the sweat was likely condensation forming on a wax figure, cooled by dry ice and hidden battery-powered fans inside the heavy 900-pound casket. The weight of the casket itself became suspicious. Why so heavy unless it contained refrigeration equipment? The swollen head and off-center hair only added fuel. This was not Elvis, but a carefully staged substitute. The theory went even deeper. In December 1970, Elvis had walked into the White House unannounced and met President Richard Nixon. He asked to be made a federal agent at large for the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. Nixon, amused, gave him a badge. Elvis carried it proudly for the rest of his life. Conspiracy believers claim this connection to federal law enforcement, combined with alleged threats from organized crime figures tied to the Las Vegas scene, gave Elvis the perfect escape route. The government allegedly placed him in witness protection, a new identity, a new life somewhere far away from the crushing pressure of fame, the drugs, and the management machine that had ground him down. Sightings began almost immediately after the funeral and continued for decades. Elvis working at a gas station in Michigan, eating at a diner in California, or appearing backstage at concerts. While most were easily debunked, the legend refused to die. Even darker rumors circulated about the days following the public viewing. On August 18th, a private funeral was held at Graceland. Then on August 29th, 3 men were arrested after scaling the wall at Forest Hill Cemetery, where Elvis had been temporarily buried. They claimed they had been hired to steal the body for $10 million. Charges were eventually dropped, But years later, a former Shelby County deputy suggested the entire incident might have been staged by Vernon Presley himself. Graceland was not zoned for burials. A credible threat against the body provided the perfect legal justification to move Elvis and his mother Gladys to the meditation garden on the Graceland grounds in October 1977, where they remain today. Forum discussions and conspiracy communities have kept these theories alive for nearly 50 years. The sweating photo is still analyzed frame by frame. The heavy casket, the quick embalming, the sealed autopsy files, all of it is presented as evidence of a massive cover-up. Some even claim the man buried at Graceland was a cousin or body double, while the real Elvis lived out his days in quiet anonymity. Whether any of it is true remains hotly debated. Medical experts and biographers point to the well-documented decline: the drugs, the enlarged heart, the megacolon, the years of abuse. The body on the bathroom floor was real. The grief of Lisa Marie, Vernon, and the inner circle was real. But the power of the conspiracy lies in its emotional truth. For millions of fans, it was impossible to accept that their invincible king could die so young, so undignified, face down on a bathroom floor with his pajama bottoms around his ankles. The idea that Elvis had outsmarted death itself, escaping the prison of fame through one final, masterful performance, gave them hope and kept the legend eternal. The sweating photograph, the heavy casket, the sealed files until 2027, all of it continues to feed the mystery. Every year on August 16, thousands still gather at Graceland with candles. They leave flowers at the meditation garden. And somewhere in the back of their minds, many still whisper the same question that began in that long line in 1977. What if it wasn't really him? In the end, the official story was simple. Elvis Presley died of cardiac arrhythmia on August 16, 1977. A heart attack, the kind of thing that can happen to anyone. But the truth is far more complex, far more painful, and far more human. The body that the senior embalmer worked on alone that night was not the body of a man who had suddenly collapsed. It was the body of a man who had been dying by inches for years. A body systematically destroyed by a mountain of prescription drugs, chronic pain, isolation, and the unbearable weight of being Elvis Presley. The enlarged heart, the megacolon, the years of polypharmacy, the old needle marks, the graying hair hidden under fresh black dye, all of it told a story the public was never meant to see. The Memphis Mafia, the inner circle of friends and handlers who surrounded him, had watched it happen. Some tried to help. Most stayed silent, caught between loyalty and fear. Dr. Nick kept writing prescriptions. The yes men kept the parties going. And Elvis, trapped by his own legend, kept sliding deeper into the darkness. From the electrifying young man in black leather dominating the 1968 comeback special to the bloated, broken figure found face down on a bathroom floor just 9 years later, the fall was as dramatic as the rise. The voice that once stopped the world in 1954 had been reduced to a whisper. The king was gone long before that final Tuesday afternoon. Whatever the senior embalmer truly saw on that steel table, he carried it quietly for decades. He restored the image the world needed, the peaceful king in the white suit. But he kept the tools. He kept the John Doe tag. And in 2010, as an old man in his 80s, he stepped forward with one simple statement: people deserve to know the truth. He never gave the full details. He never described exactly what shocked him most. Those specific observations, the true extent of the destruction, the silent evidence of years of abuse, died with him. We may never know every secret he took to his grave, but what we do know already changes everything. The sealed autopsy file, with its complete toxicology results and every withheld medical finding, remains locked away in a legal archive in Memphis. Vernon Presley ordered it sealed for 50 years to protect the family's privacy. That 50-year mark arrives in 2027. When those files finally open, every reporter in America will be watching. Will they confirm the devastating role of the drugs? Will they reveal details the embalmer saw but never spoke about? Will they finally silence the conspiracy theories or give them new life? No matter what the documents show, one thing is certain. The image of Elvis Presley that the world still carries, the hip-swiveling icon, the leather-clad rebel, the voice on the radio that made hearts stop, has almost nothing to do with the man on that bathroom floor. The embalmer's job was to close that painful distance, to turn the broken reality into something the public could mourn. He did his job, he kept his silence, and he left us with one of the greatest mysteries in American entertainment history. So the question remains exactly where he left it. Open, waiting, unanswered. What really happened in that bathroom on August 16, 1977? How much of the official story was shaped to protect a legend? And what truths are still hidden until the files open in 2027? If this story has made you question everything you thought you knew about the King's final hours, hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now. We will be here the moment those sealed documents become public. Drop a comment below. Do you believe Elvis really died that day? Or do you think there's more to the story? Fake death or tragic reality? Let us know your thoughts. If you want updates when the 2027 files open, smash that like button and share this video with fellow Elvis fans. The meditation garden at Graceland still receives flowers every single day. Somewhere a jukebox still plays Suspicious Minds. And the King's real story, the full, unfiltered truth, may be closer than we think. Stay curious, stay relentless. Hit subscribe and never stop asking the questions they tried to bury. Until next time.